Okay, good morning. So, it's early in the morning, getting my Thursday morning up off the ground. And as promised, here is another very important coping technique to ensure that you manage your mental wellness properly. And it's a simple one, right? We all know it. I'm doing it now. And it's called exercise. Exercise. So, believe it or not, experts have said that, if I'm not mistaken, it's that 30 minutes of exercise can be equivalent to one antidepressant. So guess what? Exercise is an awesome stress reliever. Not only is it a stress reliever for anxiety, depression, it is also a great thing for physical fitness. Especially for those of us out there, as we get older, the body starts to degenerate, and we need to now do more to keep ourselves active, because in today's society, we live a very sedentary lifestyle, right? Netflix, in the house, air conditioned all day, or whatever we want to say, and we're not getting out. We have jobs a lot of times that are behind desks. So we do live a very sedentary lifestyle by nature, unfortunately. So then what we have to do now is we have to supplement, because our bodies were made by God and they were not intended to be sedentary. So now we have to make the extra effort to get regular exercise. And it's not always easy, because it's not easy for me. I'm anemic, and doing it requires a lot of effort. But I still try to do, if even low intensity, or sometimes I can get up to moderate exercise, just to even keep my mind in the right space. And you would be amazed. And I think it really has to do also with the fact that, you get outside most times. You feel the fresh air. In many cases, the sun is not fully up yet, but you can actually, feel the sun on your face, get that vitamin C. In fact, that's another proven fact. These are just not things that I'm saying off the top of my head. In addition to living it and to having used them to help me cope and to maintain my well-being, I have also checked into a lot of studies, and there are studies that prove that sunlight can aid with depression and that it can actually help you feel better. In some cases, doctors actually recommend it, right? That if you're not getting sunlight, you get sunlight. And for places that actually do not have sunlight the way the good old Bahamas has sunlight, for places like that, they actually have lights on the market that they sell that emit, I guess, the same amount of rays, or I don't know the technical term. But the bottom line is they encourage people to put these lights in their homes and everything, so that it can encourage a state of mental well-being. So this is a huge tip. Exercise is huge in your mental health journey. And like I said yesterday, it doesn't have to be where you're having some type of mental breakdown. But the point is, our mental well-being is very important to the overall quality of the life that we live, right? So get out there. I know it's not always easy. It's not always easy for me, but do what you can. It doesn't have to be rigorous, and it doesn't have to be, like you're not on some aerobathon, but you can get out. You can have a gentle walk for 30 minutes. You can, maybe go to the gym if you prefer the gym. go to the gym, lift some light weights. There's things that you can do. Or, YouTube. Oh my goodness. The internet is just fantastic, right? And they have tons and tons of exercise videos for whatever part of the body that you are aiming to target, or just for a nice overall low impact workout if you feel like you're not in physical shape to get, the huge impact workouts in. So people, get out there. Good morning. Yeah. Get out there and do what you have to do, because like I said again, I'll mention it again. Good morning. I'll mention it again that 30 minutes of exercise can actually be equivalent to an antidepressant. So it's worth it. And it does stuff like, it can help with blood pressure. Of course, it can help with weight gain. And we know that as we get older, weight gain brings with it a lot of complications. So it's never, ever going to work against you to exercise. And I cannot tell you the benefit that it can have to your overall mental well-being. So think about that and get that going. Now, the second thing I'm going to mention, and this is going to be the last point for today, again, a coping technique is cognitive behavioral therapy. That sounds like a big word, eh? But pretty much, I would sum it up as the training of your brain, or the retraining of your brain, or the intentional training of the way you think. Because the way you think is going to greatly impact your mental health, right? After all, mental, mind, blah, 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 right? So that's really what it is, because it's a type of mental exercise, I would say, that forces you to think positively, think logically, and think fearlessly, right? And I say that because those are the things that we do, especially, let's say, if you're having anxiety or even depression. A lot of our thoughts, they are not accurate, people. They are not factual, people. The enemy is feeding our mind lies. So when you introduce cognitive, or the short version CBT, into your daily regimen, what you do now is you are now training your mind to combat, for lack of a better word, to combat those lies that it tells us when we are depressed or we are anxious. I'll give you an example. When you're depressed, you can have thoughts like, my life is over. Nah, not true. Your life is not over. If you're up and you're breathing, you're walking around, no, your life is not over. And wherever there's life, there's hope. So that's an example of CBT. What I'm doing is I'm looking at the factual part of what I'm going through. And when my mind starts to run and tells me all these negative thoughts, I now combat them with a positive. So, and sometimes even sit down and reason it out. If you go to a psychologist or psychiatrist, sometimes they will actually give you exercises and say to you, okay, whenever you have a negative thought, sit down and think about it. Maybe get a piece of paper, write it down and say, okay, is this realistic? Or what are the chances of this happening? Because, okay, for example, going to anxiety, fear is so illogical, people. I think it's Satan's number one tool to destroy our lives, because many times fear is not true. For example, if you're going through anxiety, be it a generalized anxiety disorder or even a panic attack, I've experienced this. You feel a pain, right, somewhere in your body. Immediately, the negative thoughts start coming. Oh my God, what if it's cancer? Or whatever other disease that you may deem to be really, really sinister. Maybe it's cancer. Maybe I have this. Maybe I have that. And the reality of it is, not saying that cancer isn't real and that it doesn't exist, but the reality of it is, chances are there's nothing wrong with you. So here, you have to now say to yourself, okay, this is CBT in action. You have to say, listen, I'm well. This is just a pain, let's say in my leg. This is just a pain in my leg, and I probably did something unknowingly, maybe injured myself. Or if you are actually exercising, maybe you pulled a muscle, something simple. The thing with anxiety is, and depression, you jump to the worst case scenario in all aspects of your lives. And 9 times out of 10, that is totally untrue. And fear is directly related to worry. And experts have proven, listen, we don't even have to be experts. We live in, right? I think about 95% of the worry that we have as human beings are illegitimate. And by that I mean, either you're worrying about something that has already happened, which means there's absolutely nothing you can do to change it, so the worrying is in vain. Either you're worrying about something that you think may happen, and in many cases, the chances of whatever you're worrying about happening is very, very slim. Or either you're worrying about just stuff that you cannot change. So, again, if there's a situation in your life that you absolutely positively cannot change, worrying about it is a total waste of our time. But this is how we're stripped of the joy from our life, because the worry now becomes consuming. Fear of tomorrow, fear of what will be, when in actuality, fear of what will be actually never actually happens in many, many cases. So you have to train your mind when the thoughts come, the negative thoughts, because anxiety, depression, all mental illnesses, it begins with thoughts. And you have to remember that your thought pattern is what is going to contribute to your mental state heavily, because it begins in the mind. So CBT, again, is something that you can research, but it's really important. In fact, I don't think that you can conquer a mental illness without CBT, because you now have to work on retraining your mind to know that when these negative thoughts bombard you, you now have to replace them with logical, positive thoughts, right? Example, and this is a personal example. So I've been having this little kink in my, is that my hamstring? Yeah, my hamstring, right? Now, not gonna lie, people, I'm out of shape. Like I said, I have anemia. So I got a lot of things going on, going through menopause, got a lot of little things going on with my body. And I tell you not a word of lie. The fear started to hit me. I started to think, oh my God, what if it's a blood clot? And all these different thoughts. What if it's something? I just learned recently that somebody I know was having some issues with the pain in their leg, and it ended up being cancer. So I was like, okay, what if it's cancer? And all these things are going through my mind. And I said, okay, Lord, I have to stop this thought process. I'm well. It's 9 times out of 10, it's nothing. So I'm just going to watch it, If I feel that legitimately it becomes worse and I see the need for a doctor, okay, I'll go. But in the meanwhile, in between time, okay, Krishna, don't freak yourself out. Chances are, it really is nothing. Chances are. So let's see how it progresses. Know that I am well, that my body is in good shape. So, that whole trend of thought, whatever it is you have to tell yourself, today is going to be a beautiful day. I'm not going to allow the thoughts that Satan tries to plant in my mind of fairness to just totally rip me of what a joyful day this can be. Because the reality of it is, life is, oh my God, life is freaking hard, people. Life is hard. James 1 tells us there will be trials, there will be tribulations, we will experience hardship. Believers or not, it's gonna happen. So we have to now train ourselves to not let the negatives in our life become so overpowering, so overwhelming, that it totally obliterates all the positive. Because yes, just as we're experiencing hardships and all the other things that come our way, there is also a ton of stuff that is going good. There is a ton of blessings. A ton of blessings that we are experiencing in our lives if we just take the time to intentionally sit down and focus on them. Just the fact that, we're breathing. We're breathing. So, CBT is vital. Exercise is vital. And I'm just going to leave it at that. And I'm going to come back to you again with a few more coping techniques. And then as the month continues to progress, it is Mental Health Awareness Month. And I wanted to really be intentional about doing these blogs. I will continue to feed you some information. Disclaimer, not a doctor, people, but this is what I've experienced. These are the tools that I've used, and I am telling you, they help. Because no longer than this morning, I had some pains in my chest, and I was like, oh God, and tempted to get into a panic. And again, I had to use my faith and CBT, and I had to say, listen, girl, you're fine. You probably slept bad or whatever the case. Don't let your mind run away with you and all these other things. And now I'm here talking to you, which means that I'm not going to say that I totally obliterated it out of my mind, but I'm to the point where I'm talking to you, and that is a victory. Okay? So, listen, y'all. Charlie Patton. My little walk, my little exercise is like super done right now. I'm done. I'm done. I'm trying to increase that, though, because, boy, the pounds are piling on. I shame to show you all my body. But close to 50 ain't no joke, people. But I just wanted to encourage you that whatever you're doing this morning, just continue to focus on the good in your life. Continue to focus on the blessings that the Lord continues to give us. No matter what the mind tries to tell you, life is never, ever all bad. There's always a lot of good. It's just that for some sucky reason, it seems like the bad always tries to overshadow the good. But when you look at it, bad is darkness, good is light. And darkness can never overshadow light unless we let it. You go into a dark room and it's dark, but you put on a light and immediately, right, the room is brightened. So darkness never, ever, even though sometimes it feels that way to us, darkness never, ever has the power to conquer light. Light has the power to conquer darkness. So let's look for that light this morning. No matter what happens today, let us look for that light. Let us try not to worry excessively about things we cannot change. Serenity prayer is awesome as well. You can use that as a CBT strategy. So, there's no particular guidelines. But get out there, people. Get your heart going. Get your blood flowing. Get that antidepressant that you need to start your day. And I pray that you do continue to experience the love that Christ has imparted to us in your life. And that today, the light shines brightly in your life. So, peace. Until next time, be mentally well, be emotionally fulfilled.